Alright, this is day 5. Welcome to Algebra 2, lesson 5. Today we're going to talk about evaluating algebraic expressions and functions. So let's look at the objective. Let's read that out loud as a class. Ready and begin.
I can evaluate algebraic functions. See that? I got a little accent there.
Alright, like this video for the accent. Okay, so I can evaluate algebraic functions is the objective for today. It's something you should know how to do already. And yeah, that's what we're doing. So let me pull this up right here. Okay, if you're on the video, here are the steps. Pause the video and write these down. And if you're in class, this is it's the same thing. Okay. Here we go. So numbers 1 and 2. The big idea on these before we start is that we are looking at functions. Functions, remember in math, are like a machine. You put ingredients into the machine and you get one thing out on the outside, right? So like if I had a machine that if I put like tortillas and carne asada and some tomatoes, onions, cilantro, let's see, jalapeno, salt, and a little lime, right? What's going to come out of my machine with those ingredients? A taco, right? No. I'm not going to get like toothpaste out of the machine, right? It's only a taco, right? Or if I put ingredients for cookies, I'll get cookies out. Remember that? Told you that before. Same idea here. In math, we have these things called functions. Okay, we put ingredients into the math function, which is a number, and something pops out. Okay? So computer programmers think this way. They use functions all the time. They use if-then statements. If I put this in, then I'm going to pop this thing out, right? This thing's going to come out. All right, so number 1, we got k of n. This is a function. This is the name of it. This function, k of n, we say k of n, is equal to negative 4n plus 2. Okay, this is the machine. It's saying what happens if we put k of 8. Let's say if we put, instead of n, we're going to put an input of 8. What's going to pop out of this machine? Okay, so I want to identify what's the variable. The variable's n. So instead of that, wherever I see n, I'm going to put not n, but I'm going to put 8 in. Okay, pencils down, eyes up here. I don't need you to write. Don't worry, I'm going to give you plenty of time to write. Okay, so I see that there's an n there, so I'm going to rewrite this, and instead of writing n, I'm going to replace it with parentheses and the value of 8. Bring the rest of the problem down. Then I'm using PEMDAS, or orders of operations, to evaluate this. So we have negative 4 times 8, which is negative 32, plus 2. Bring the rest of the problem down. Negative 32 plus 2 is negative 30. And we say that the function k, when we input 8 in, an output of negative 30 will come out. Make sense? So if I put the ingredient 8, I get an output of 30. And that's your answer. Okay? That's number 1. Again, what did I do? At the very basic. This is a function. There's an n here. This is the variable. So it's like an expression. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this 8 into n and evaluate it. See what comes out. Okay, that's all you're doing. Number 2. Number 2 looks a little bit more difficult because we have the decimal there. And then our function, we're saying it's a little different. We don't want to put in a number, but we're going to actually put in an expression into n. So whenever we see n and the second function, I'm going to put this expression in. So we got w of n is equal to 6/10 n plus 3 and 5/10. So what do? I first figure out what's the variable, which is n. Pencils down. Pablo, put your pencil down. Okay? So we have n here. So I want to rewrite this. So instead of the function saying n, I'm going to say that it has 6/10 times the value of, not n, but n minus 3.2 plus 3 and 5/10. Okay? Then I'm going to simplify this, put like terms together. There is a constant on the inside of this parentheses, and there's a constant on the outside. I have to combine like terms to simplify this math problem. So in order to do that, I have to take it out, or simplify by distributing. So we got 6/10 times n is 6/10 n. 6/10 times negative 3.2. Do side problem, we get negative 1 and 92 hundredths plus 3 and 5/10. Then we simplify some more. 6/10 n. We could bring down, but the rest of the constants we combine together. We could do a side problem again. And we get that the answer is 6/10 n plus 1 and 58/100ths. And that's what the function is, okay? So your answer could be another algebraic expression when you put in the new amount, okay? That's a little bit more advanced, but that's where you need to be at. All right, questions on numbers 1 or 2? Okay, before you write, I need you to talk. So 3s, raise your hand if you're a 3. 3s are the ones, if you don't have a 3, then maybe a 1 or 2 could have volunteered. Okay, 3s are talking about number 1, okay? 3s are talking about number 1 first, and when they're done, we're going to have 4s. 4s, raise your hand. 4s, 4s, 4s. 4s. If you don't have a 4, then have like a 1 or 2. Talk about number 2. Okay, ready, set, talk. Okay, so again, writing this down in your notes. I'll give you a couple minutes. If you're on the video, pause to write this down. You're using orders of operations for this one, number 3. Try this one on your own. On this example, P of 3 is equal to negative 10. You should multiply negative 2 times 3 to get negative 6. Subtract 4, you get negative 10. And then I want you to write your answer with P of 3, right? Because I'm saying that this function, if I put in 3 into it, the answer should be negative 10. Does that make sense? Okay. Cool. Very good. Next one. Next one's going to be a little bit harder. Okay. Let me just remind you that you learned fractions when you were in elementary school, junior high also. Here we go. Here we go. I'm going to present this to you. We have f of n, or the function f of n is equal to negative 3 plus 5/3 n. It's asking, find f, or the function's value, when you input negative 6/7. Okay, so what's the name of our variable? Turn to your neighbors and tell them what's the variable. Okay, and then also tell them what you're going to replace n with when you're working. Okay, good. Negative 6/7. Excellent. So I'll write this out for you to get you started. Okay, quick reminder. Talk to your group. We have to multiply, right, first? Remind your group, how do you multiply fractions? Why don't you discuss that? Let's think again. Okay, how do we multiply fractions? Reminder, how do we do it? Not cross multiply, that's incorrect. That's when you add and subtract fractions. This one's the easiest one of all. You multiply across, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. Someone said cross multiply, which is... No, I didn't hear that. Okay, anyway, so, right, 5 times negative 6 is negative 30, and then 3 times 7 is 21. Okay? Now we have to combine negative 3 with this new fraction. How do you make negative 3 a fraction? Put it over 1, good. Okay? Turn to your neighbors, remind them, how do you add and subtract fractions?
Find the greatest common factor.
Nope. Lowest common denominator. Okay, what's the lowest common denominator between 1 and 21? 21, good. So we're going to switch this around. I'll help you out. What's 1 times 21? Good. What's 3 times 21?
63.
And we want to make sure to bring that negative down. All right, bring the rest of the problem down. Finish this up. I would like my answer to be simplified and a mixed number, okay? Go. You should have got negative 93 over 21, okay? And that could be an answer, but it's not simplified yet, right? So I could simplify it by doing a side problem and then making a mixed number, right? So this is really like saying negative 4 and 9 21sts. And I know we're using bigger numbers, so it's like we could have simplified earlier. Can I simplify 9 over 21?
Yeah.
What goes into both of them? 3, right? So it could be negative 4 3/7. Okay. The other thing you could have done is you could have left it as an improper fraction. So 3 also goes into 93 and 21. So I could simplify those as negative 3 over 31 over 7, or the other answer is down here, which is this one. Don't erase your boards. I want you to talk to your neighbors. Where did you make mistakes, or where did you struggle, and how can you get better from that? Ready, set, go. It's super important to reflect on where you make mistakes. Think about where you made mistakes. Think about how you could fix them, and then applying that, okay? The worst thing you could do is just say, oh, I got it wrong. Oh, well, next problem, and you don't reflect, right? Okay, good. Next one, number 5. Number 5, we got f of a is equal to 9/10 a plus 4 2/10. Okay, the function f of a. So let's pretend that we want to figure out what happens. What's the value of the output if our function has an input of negative 5 2/10. Okay, this is decimal, so similar to fractions, just a little. It's a different format of a number. I'll help you out and start you up. So instead of a, we want to put in negative 5 2/10. Okay. Go. Answers up. Answers up. Okay. Don't erase your boards. Okay. Don't erase your boards. Okay. Don't erase your boards. Look up here at mine and then compare. Here we go. So we got negative 4.68 plus 4.2, right? When we multiply those two out, that's what we get. And then we have to add, right? We have negative 4.68 plus 4.2. Which number is bigger, the negative or the positive? The negative, right? So we want to subtract 4.2 from 4.68, right? And then we know that the answer is going to be negative, so then we figured out it's negative 0.48. And that's your answer. Sorry. That's lost and found. There's nothing in there. Okay? Don't erase your boards. Show your neighbor where you made mistakes, because a lot of you made mistakes, okay? And how you can fix it. Okay, continuing on, last one. Last one we got f of x is equal to 3.8x plus 6/10. Find f when we put in x squared, or f of x squared. So, instead of x, you're putting x squared. Don't overthink this. Look at number 2 if you need help, but don't overthink it, okay? Okay, when you do this one, you're going to replace x with x squared. That's all we're doing, right? Do you all agree? All I'm adding there is just a little exponent of 2. So really all you're doing is just adding a little exponent of 2. So your answer is 3 8/10 x squared plus 0 6/10. Turn to your neighbor, tell them where you made a mistake. If you did it right, say I did it right. Tell them where you made a mistake or where you got scared or...
I saw this immediately. I just had to get that.
Okay? Now this last one was kind of easy, right? Straightforward, but there are difficult ones where you have to work out the problem, okay? We'll be working toward those. Okay, so we are at closure, so this ends the lesson.